Hyperinflation is a rapid and excessive increase in prices, often occurring when a country experiences a significant economic crisis. It erodes the value of money quickly, making it almost worthless in a very short period. This means you need more money to buy the same things, leading to a vicious cycle of rising prices and decreasing purchasing power. Hyperinflation is very damaging to an economy, causing businesses to close and leading to widespread unemployment. Imagine your weekly shop costing £100 today, then £200 next week, and £400 the week after. That's hyperinflation in action, making everyday life increasingly unaffordable. It's not just rising prices, it's prices spiraling out of control, creating chaos in the market. This extreme form of inflation disrupts normal economic activities, making it hard for businesses to plan and operate efficiently. It makes it difficult for businesses to operate and for people to afford basic necessities, leading to increased poverty and social unrest. Understanding the causes and effects of hyperinflation is crucial to prevent it. Factors like excessive money printing, loss of confidence in the currency, and political instability can trigger hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is rare but devastating, with historical examples like Zimbabwe and the Weimar Republic showing its severe impact. It's important to know what it is and how to spot the warning signs so measures can be taken to avoid such economic disasters. One of the main drivers of hyperinflation is a rapid increase in the money supply. This phenomenon can have far-reaching effects on an economy, often leading to severe financial instability and loss of public confidence in the currency. When a government prints too much money, it floods the economy with currency. This influx can initially seem beneficial as more money becomes available for spending and investment. However, this excess money reduces the value of each individual unit of currency. As the supply of money increases without a corresponding increase in goods and services, the purchasing power of the currency diminishes. Think of it like this: if everyone suddenly had twice as much money, they'd be willing to pay more for goods and services. This willingness to spend more drives up demand, which in turn pushes prices higher. This increased demand can lead to a surge in prices. As prices rise, the cost of living increases, making it harder for people to afford basic necessities. This is often seen when governments resort to printing money to finance their spending, especially during times of crisis. While it might provide a short-term solution to budgetary problems, it can create long-term economic challenges. While it might seem like an easy solution, it can have disastrous consequences. Hyperinflation can erode savings, disrupt economic planning, and lead to a loss of confidence in the financial system. When the money supply outpaces economic growth, it can lead to a dangerous imbalance. This imbalance can cause a vicious cycle of rising prices and decreasing currency value. It's like a game of musical chairs with too much money chasing too few goods. In such a scenario, the economy can become chaotic, with shortages of essential items and skyrocketing prices, ultimately harming the very people the policy was meant to help. Another culprit behind hyperinflation is demand pull inflation. This occurs when there's too much money chasing too few goods and services. This can be triggered by factors like increased consumer spending or government spending. Imagine a situation where everyone suddenly has more money to spend. They rush out to buy things, but there aren't enough goods to go around. This leads to businesses raising prices. This creates a vicious cycle where rising prices lead to demands for higher wages, which in turn fuels further price increases. This upward spiral can quickly get out of control. Demand pull inflation can be exacerbated by supply chain disruptions, natural disasters, or other factors that limit the availability of goods and services. One of the most infamous examples of hyperinflation occurred in Weimar Germany after World War I. This period is often cited in economic studies as a prime example of what can go wrong when a country loses control over its currency. The German government, burdened by war debts and reparations, resorted to printing massive amounts of money to pay its bills. This decision was driven by the need to meet the harsh reparations imposed by the Treaty of Versailles, which demanded enormous sums of money from Germany. This led to a rapid depreciation of the German mark. The value of the currency plummeted, and what was once a stable economy began to spiral out of control. Prices skyrocketed, and people needed wheelbarrows full of money just to buy a loaf of bread. Everyday items became luxuries, and the cost of living soared beyond the reach of ordinary citizens. The situation became so dire that people used banknotes as wallpaper because they were cheaper than actual wallpaper. Banknotes were also used for kindling fires and making children's toys, as their value was practically non-existent. The hyperinflation crippled the German economy and led to widespread social unrest. People lost their life savings overnight, and the middle class was particularly hard hit, leading to a loss of faith in the government. It's a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked money printing. The Weimar Republic's experience shows how quickly economic stability can be undermined by poor fiscal decisions. The Weimar experience serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of sound monetary policy and fiscal responsibility. It underscores the need for governments to maintain control over their financial systems to prevent such economic disasters from occurring again. Section 5. Historical hyperinflation, Venezuela. A more recent example of hyperinflation can be seen in Venezuela. A combination of factors, including government mismanagement, falling oil prices, and political instability, led to an economic crisis. The Venezuelan government responded by printing more money, which only exacerbated the problem. Prices soared and the value of the Venezuelan bolivar plummeted. People struggled to afford basic necessities, and shortages of food, medicine, and other essential goods became commonplace. The crisis led to widespread poverty and social unrest. Venezuela's experience highlights the devastating consequences of hyperinflation on a nation's economy and its people. Section 6. The devastating effects on economies. Hyperinflation has severe consequences for economies. As prices spiral out of control, businesses struggle to operate. They face uncertainty in pricing goods and services, making planning and investment nearly impossible. Investment plummets as businesses lose confidence in the future. The currency becomes almost worthless, making international trade extremely difficult. The economy can grind to a halt as people lose faith in the currency and resort to bartering or using foreign currencies. It creates a vicious cycle of economic decline. Hyperinflation undermines the very foundations of a functioning economy, leading to widespread instability and hardship. Section 7. The impact on individuals and savings. Hyperinflation is devastating for individuals and families. As prices soar, people's savings are wiped out. Those on fixed incomes, like pensioners, are hit particularly hard. Imagine saving for years for retirement, only to see the value of your savings evaporate in a matter of weeks or months. This is the harsh reality of hyperinflation. People lose their purchasing power, and their standard of living plummets. It creates a climate of fear and uncertainty as people struggle to make ends meet. The social fabric of society can be torn apart as people become desperate. It's a humanitarian crisis as much as an economic one. Section 8. Combating hyperinflation, fiscal policy. Addressing hyperinflation requires a multi-pronged approach. Governments must get their own spending under control. This means cutting back on non-essential expenditure and balancing the budget. This can be a painful process, but it's crucial to restore fiscal discipline. It's like tightening your belt after a period of overspending. Governments also need to address the root causes of the crisis, such as supply chain issues or structural economic problems. This requires long-term planning and commitment to reform. It's not just about putting out the fire, it's about rebuilding the house to be more resilient. Section 9. Monetary policy and price controls. Central banks have a crucial role to play in combating hyperinflation. They need to raise interest rates to curb borrowing and reduce the money supply. This can help to slow down the rate of inflation. However, raising interest rates can also have negative consequences, such as slowing down economic growth. It's a delicate balancing act. Some governments may also resort to price controls in an attempt to curb inflation. However, this can lead to shortages and black markets. It's not a sustainable solution. Ultimately, the key is to restore confidence in the currency and the economy. This requires a combination of sound policies, credible institutions, and public trust. Section 10, Conclusion, a global threat. Hyperinflation is a complex problem with devastating consequences. It's a threat that can cripple economies, decimate savings, and tear apart societies. While rare, the risks of hyperinflation are always present, especially in times of economic uncertainty or political instability. Understanding its causes and effects is crucial to prevention. Governments, central banks, and individuals all have a role to play in preventing this economic disaster. By learning from history, we can work together to ensure a more stable and prosperous future for all. Remember, hyperinflation is not just an economic issue, it's a human issue. It's about protecting people's livelihoods, their savings, and their futures.